Now let's move on from Nitpickville into Peacemakerville.
Here's the problem. I have not gotten my real ID, so I can't travel from Nitpickville.
Oh,
yeah, I'm stuck
sorry.
here.
Well, I'm not the one who made my brain.
No, let's talk about Peacemaker. This episode had some crazy ass crap, including
The Prime Eagle.
Well, Michael Rooker, we hardly knew you. And yeah, Eagly is the Prime Eagle, apparently. That was intense.
That was such a brilliant James Gunny twist.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, by the way.
Him going, like the Eagle Hunter guy going down in the forest, and then all these eagles just surrounding him, and Eagly showing up, and the symbolic spirit eagle behind him. And he's like, you are the Prime Eagle. Please forgive me. And then the eagles just swoop in and chew him up. Damn.
So there's two interesting things about this scene. We're jumping straight to the meat of the episode.
I know. I started with that just because that was...
Okay, that's good. Did you watch any of that interview? Not the interview.
I didn't. I still am behind. I haven't seen any of the after the show.
Okay, they're really fun, but this one was noteworthy because of what Michael Rooker says about that scene when Eagly shows up as the Prime Eagle, and he suddenly realizes, oh, shit, I'm screwed. Michael Rooker interpreted the character, I think, differently than James Gunn did in that moment. That the way he says that when Michael Rooker says in that moment, he really, it wasn't just that he realized he'd messed up and that he was about to die. It was that he was completely like had to come to Jesus moment, basically, that he realized he
that's how it reads.
He'd lived his life the wrong way, and that he suddenly felt remorse for all the eagles that he'd killed in his lifetime.
Yeah,
he's like, and James is like in this podcast interview, he's like, oh really? You didn't think he was just for not wanting to get pecked to death by eagles? Like, no, man, that's how I acted it in the scene. I mean, he's really having a life-changing moment.
Yeah, I think James Gunn likes taking the piss out of people getting higher and high and mighty or philosophical, because James Gunn is probably the kind of guy who likes to go, at the end of the day, we're making comic book shows. And I think that's a defensive thing. I'm sure he also saw what Rooker was doing and going like, that's the stuff. That's the stuff right there.
I kind of find it hard to believe they didn't have that conversation on set too. You know, I think because they're really close friends, those two.
Yeah, he's been in everything the guy's made. I saw Slither. I saw his first movie. I watched that.
Which brings me to the other thing that's interesting about this that James Gunn said. It was in on his Threads account. Somebody asked him, like, how many times have you killed Michael Rooker in your movies? And he very gleefully listed all of them. And then he left one of them out. He's like, oh, shit. But at the very bottom, he says, Red Saint Wild, ? Unverified. So
okay.
He's probably planning to bring that character back as a reformed individual later.
Maybe so.
Without missing a finger, apparently.
Maybe he comes back in a quasi-spiritual way. I mean, the nice thing about comics is he could be literally like a ghost hero now or whatever. I mean, so you could do what you do.
Yeah.
I love that, the freedom of like, he died. Oh, no, now he's back. Oh, now he's played by a different actor.
My priority is protecting the people of the United States. I need to find that dimensional rift.
This was a big episode for Rick Flag Sr.
Yes.
I had to go back and rewatch a little bit of Creature Commandos after seeing this, because I'm like, oh, I really, because Creature Commandos presents him as a hero. You know, you're behind him pretty much the entire show. And which is interesting too, is like, you know, the very first episode of Creature Commandos, the princess or whatever of, I forget the name of the country.
I can't remember the country.
Native country. Yeah. She throws herself at him immediately. And he's like, oh, kind of Jerry Lewis's his way out of it. Like, oh, I can't do the thing with the lady. And later he eventually, I think a few episodes later, he finally succumbs to her advances.
Oh, he does.
But he has to be pushed.
Yes.
So, and there's some weird stuff going on. Number one, he beats the shit out of Chris, which I kind of figured was going to happen anyway. But it's like, oh man, I don't really like Rick anymore. And I understand him being, I think there's going to be, obviously there's going to be an arc and everything for him, but I'm like,
oh, they'll never be friends. But here's the thing, the way I see it, and I think James Gunn is walking that line with the character, because he also wrote all the dialogue of Creature Commandos. So if nothing else, he's the guy telling us who Rick Flag Sr. is. I think Rick Flag Sr. is a man of honor. I think he is a good guy. His blind spot, his blind rage is about the loss of his son. And so I think that colors everything where it comes to Chris, where it comes to Peacemaker. Yeah. So I'm sure he would willingly and willfully kill him. And that's a terrible thing. But I think that is the part where he can't see logic, or he can't see his own faults in that, because it's his white whale. It's like, for one thing, they kept it a secret from him so long, so that worked on him. Like, who did it? The whole thing, like at the funeral where he's like right behind Harcourt and still saying, because she calls him General, and he's like, no, just call me Rick. It's like, look, and he is manipulative of Harcourt to get what he wants.
Yes.
It's also nice at the very beginning to see that Harcourt, of course, is conflicted, but them explaining what it's copacetic thing means. She was trying to protect him. He just wouldn't do it. And then Economos on the inside, that was pretty clever, because
that was great.
They haven't put his arrest into the system, so no one knows they have him, so they can do whatever they want to with him, which is why Rick Flag is beating him almost to death and saying, fight back. And Chris is like, no, because he knows he's kind of taken that. He's become martyry about this thing. It's the shadow over his character, is that he did that.
What's interesting, there's a lot of weird things about this episode, which I don't know, or I guess we'll find out pretty soon whether or not they're intentional or not.
Mm-hmm.
But what, when Bordeaux comes into the room and stops him, because by the way, Economist just booked him.
Mm-hmm.
Rick didn't seem too surprised. He's like, all right. He just immediately.
The thing is,
you know what I mean?
Here's a little character psychology. I think he was glad, because he probably didn't trust himself to stop. Like, he may have just kept going till the man was dead. And I think there's part of him that's kind of glad of like, thank you for stopping me. It's like he has to work through that, just like Peacemaker has to work through his own guilt. Flag has to work through his own rage and, need for revenge. And like I said, they'll never be friends, but I don't guarantee, but probably by the end of the season, they will reluctantly agree to let each other exist and go their own way. I mean, the fact that he's in charge and Waller basically burned bridges and set a lot of things up just to, like, I'm out of here, fine, fuck you, which is very much an Amanda Waller thing to do. Yeah, it's kind of, I do think it's interesting that the Argus offices really do just look like an office block.
Yeah, it looks
you
like
always
the
picture
office.
Like a super secret spy organization would be in kind of like a ultra high tech, and they're just walking through. They're walking through the office. They're in Dunder Mifflin.
You're right.
Oh, also the reveal of Sacha Bordeaux being.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's my next thing. So there's a couple of really interesting things about Sacha Bordeaux. Turns out she is a cyborg, just like she is in the comics, which is cool.
But not connected to the OMAC.
I mean, not exactly like she is in the comics, but still.
They will say it.
Yeah, that was a nice little reveal. It's like, oh, cool. But then she does this weird turn after she stops, the conversation she has with Rick after she interrupts him beating the crap out of Chris.
Right.
That conversation they have later, and all of a sudden she starts coming on to him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is she doing?
I mean, we've only known her character sort of in the background. She's not had too much to do yet. Maybe this is something that's been simmering for a while, or maybe he hasn't been in the office long. I mean, what has he been? Director for a few weeks, maybe. And maybe this is just her shooting her shot, and maybe she's really attracted to Rick Flag Sr. I have no idea.
I don't know. I think there's somebody outside pointing out this scene. I think when they're in a car together, and she kind of turns and looks at him. Like, it's really creepy way, like she's up to something.
Oh,
so, and I think he knows. I think he's smart enough to know that she's not what she seems. I don't know.
Well, I don't want to go conspiracy theory and say maybe they're building something like in Checkmate, where even the people at the highest levels of the DC spy universe can't trust each other. Dude, if they bring in King Faraday and Sarge Steele and all, they're all these like spy and espionage characters of the DCU that I'm sitting there going like, if they bring them in, I will lose my shit. But so far they haven't. But yeah, it's possible. Let's say that maybe she is an OMAC, or you could go even more sci-fi. What if she's a manhunter? Because they could appear as humans, and they in the 80s there was that big miniseries where they revealed themselves. We've been here all along, and Lana Lang was revealed to have been replaced by a manhunter. So for like 2 years, Clark had been hanging out with a manhunter and thinking it was Lana. Anyway, so I doubt that. But maybe they are building to something where she's on another team.
So yeah, I don't know. It's just I'm really curious to see what the story is with that, because it just seemed out of nowhere.
I wonder if she also flirted with Amanda Waller.
I'm
And
really
I'm
impressed,
sorry,
ma'am.
I know it's meant for comedy, but I felt really bad for ads. The whole thing about, speaking of ads, she's so
Yeah,
excited she finally gets like someone's calling for her mercenary company, but it turns out that it's clearly a guy looking for sex work, and
yeah.
Adrian, aka the clueless vigilante, sitting there going like, "Oh, because in sex work, what he's asking for is." It's like he said, "Do you do Greek?" He goes, "I don't know what that means in mercenary, but in sex work, that."
Well, I love it. He starts the conversation by, "I never kill prostitutes." Don't worry.
Yeah, yeah.
Like as if that was, as if she would have been worried about that, even if she
Well, I
was.
mean, they have taken the character from the comics. They've really reworked him into he. They're making him kind of on the spectrum or autistic or sociopathic, but not evil. Like he's needy. But really the whole thing with him is he's kind of guileless. He just kills bad guys.
Mhm.
And so that's why he's going like, no, I don't kill prostitutes. They have it hard
Only the
enough.
Johns.
Yeah, only the Johns. So it's like if you break the law, vigilante will kill you. It's almost like RoboCop shooting at the guys like in the no smoking zone. It's a similar thing where it's like no smoking. I think that's what they're making him into.
So he has an important moment in this show, where he's crying after Chris leaves the universe for the other universe.
Yeah.
James Gunn talks about this on the podcast after show thing, that Adrian is somebody who says in the first season, "I don't have emotions. Yeah, I can't." So here he is actually expressing emotion for the first time, other than like jealousy or
It's
whatever.
pretty clear that no one has been his friend, even people
Yeah.
he thinks are his friend, because he's indicated like in season 1 of this, like coworkers like, "Hey, Joey, yada da," and they're like, "You're a freak, man, get the way." But he's like, "Oh, that's the way we joke around." So yeah, he is not an emotionally rounded person, and that was touching. I mean, James Gunn will always do that. He will go as far as he wants with exploitative, crazy, over the top violence or whatever. But the thing that is his weapon is he knows when to get your heartstrings with characters you never thought you'd care about, which is why Guardians of the Galaxy was such a surprise hit. Even Marvel were sitting there going like, man, who's going to give a shit about Star-Lord and Gamora and all that? It's like, well, because the guy's going to write the hell out of them. And as goofy as they are, as many people make fun of them, that's his thing. He loves outsiders, clearly, which is why him doing Superman was such a surprise. Because he is a Creature Commandos and Guardians guy. He's the fringy type. But he will make you care about them and he will make you cry. So I liked that scene where it is just like, hey, I bring destruction to my friends here, and my life is terrible here, and I'm going to this. He makes the decision in this episode to literally close the door behind him and go to the other universe. And you see how it affects everybody, to the extent that the 11th Street gang, they all get together and they're like, they go back. They go into the other universe at the end of the episode. He's like, "What the hell are you doing here? We're here for you."
Yeah.
It's just touching, because even Harcourt, she doesn't want him to go there.
So this leads me to what I think there was just based on something else that somebody said. I think I know who the big cameo is in this, and it's not probably who we're hoping it's going to be. I think Rick and Sacha Bordeaux are going to Belle Reve to talk to Lex Luthor. To talk about alternate, pocket universes, because that's the only other person they know who has experience with that kind of technology.
I think you're right. You want to know why? Do you want to know why? Because also I read the comment, and this might have been in one of those videos, which I haven't seen, but I saw a quote from him where he said, season 2 of Peacemaker really does set up Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so, yes, the whole thing of the dimensional doorways, and they keep talking about the Metropolis incident and all that.
Yeah.
That does make perfect sense. And how cool would that be?
Yeah.
To get Nicholas Hoult back in his bald head. talking to those guys. Oh, I can't wait.
Great. So, and somebody else was saying too, because he is going to Belle Reve, because the creature commandos are also holed up at Belle Reve too.
That's right.
So here's another possibility. Here's another
Harbor is
possibility.
Frankenstein.
Well, and even would be great to see, but this is supposedly this hasn't been verified yet, but everybody's pretty sure that this other universe is more similar to Earth X than it is Earth 2, because it's probably where the Nazis won, or the South won, or something like that. Something like that. If it is the Nazi universe, who better to bring in to fight a war against the bad guys inside the universe than
G.I. Robot.
So we'll see about that, but I think it's most likely just going to be Lex.
Here's what I think will happen in Peacemaker, whether or not this goes into anything else. But if they go to Belle Reve, man, you got me so excited by this possibility. I didn't even think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But as they go there, what I think, those cameos probably won't be those actors. It'll be one of those things where they walk down the hall and in the windows they'll have a CG Dr. Phosphorus. Won't be Alan Tudyk. It'll just be him in his room.
Somebody doing the motion capture. Yeah.
And G.I. Robot doesn't need to be in the asylum. I mean, in Belle Reve prison. So he probably won't be there. We wouldn't see him, but it's possible Weasel or whatever. I don't know what they do, but that'd be so cool.
More than anything, I want to see the bride. I want to see.
And do I want to see the bride?
As the bride? Come on.
Indira Varma actually in the costume. I won't be able to handle it.
But I have another theory. This is my theory. I've touched on this before, and we'll see where they go with this. Because Adrian keeps saying, "Are we going to meet another me? Is my other me in the universe? Is he going to be really cool?" Yeah. And because of this irony that we've had in the show already, like where Economos makes up a story about there being another eagle, and that it's a prime eagle. And it turns out it is a prime eagle.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that they are going to run into another Adrian Chase in this other universe, and he is going to be a huge hero. And I think he's going to be the head of that Sons of Liberty. If the Sons of Liberty are sort of like the freedom fighters of this universe, he may actually be the head of those people.
Good call.
Another idea I had is that in this universe, he's also good friends with the other Chris, who's dead now, that he killed. The other Chris might actually be a secret freedom fighter, because his brother keeps saying, "Where are you? Keep disappearing," and all this stuff. And this may be why that Chris is on drugs, because he's psychologically conflicted about all the things that he's done.
This is all good thoughts,
he's
man.
Torn up, and he was torn up inside because he feels bad about the crimes of the government that he works for.
Just because I love the character from the comics, I wouldn't mind, though it would be sad that he's in the other universe, that the Adrian in the other universe is closer to the comics version. Like he is a former district attorney and is deadly serious and not some doof. But I like the idea that he would be a leader of like the rebellion type thing. That's cool.
I think that they're putting, I mean, again, James Gunn did talk about Adrian, that moment, the emotional moment that Adrian Chase has in this episode. I think that's not the end. That's not going to be the end of his character arc, that James Gunn is going to keep.
I mean, I don't think
not that he's going to completely change his demeanor.
None of his characters ever completely change, but obviously you watch Rocket Raccoon from Guardians 1 to Guardians 3, he's still a sarcastic quipster, but man, do you understand him, and you see the hidden depths and darkness of this cartoon, raccoon. You're like, Jesus Christ, that's amazing writing. It's great character work. And yeah, he can be on the nose. Some people bring that up. They're like, man, he's not a subtle writer. I'm like, not necessarily saying subtle. I'm saying the guy knows how to manipulate emotions, and in a fairly organic way. And I sit there always surprised, out of the hidden depths, he can dredge up for like a talking tree, so it's like, yeah, that guy's good. And he gets comics. So I like your theories. I hadn't thought about any of that.
We'll find out in a couple of days.
I was also of course, excited to see the top trio in action. That was great. They've got jetpacks. They take down a kaiju.
Which, that was the other thing from the post-show podcast thing, is James Gunn just outright says it's the same kaiju from Superman.
Yeah.
So what that means, if anything,
like I said, must be on a different timeline.
Yeah.
Because all the stuff in Prime Universe has already happened. So is the kaiju not connected to any kind of, is there even a Superman in the other universe?
Right. Yeah.
There's been no mention of him. Only the top trio.
I kind of think that there is no Superman. That's why one of the reasons why this universe is in the state that it's in, possibly. Superman is probably long gone,
or it could be an evil Superman,
or it could
have
be
been one of those, like Elseworlds thing where he landed in Nazi Germany and grew up a Nazi, that kind of thing. You're like, oh.
I do still really like the idea. It probably won't be this, but it'd be kind of cool if it was more like Earth 2, and that all the good heroes are long gone, that they existed in a different era, and now things have gone down the tubes because they're not there anymore.
But they do have a top trio. That's important.
They have a top trio.
I can't wait to see where it goes. It's worth getting excited about. And especially we're getting towards the episodes that James Gunn himself can't shut up, going like, I can't believe what you guys are going to get to see.
They're all economists, Steve Agee and all the actors who are involved in it. Like, oh yeah, I wish I could tell you about it. I can't.
All right. Well, we just got to wait. Hope you guys are watching it and enjoying it. We've heard from some of you guys. And again, if you love Snyder films, I support you. That's wonderful. If you hate Peacemaker and you're like, I don't want to deal with that. Okay. Not your jam, but we're enjoying it. So I hope you don't mind that we talk about it from time to time. You can fast forward through all that stuff. We haven't talked about John Cena's, because this season he was also in his tighty whities for at least the first couple episodes. We haven't talked about his butt, and that's something we do need to address. Maybe next week.
Maybe the next week could be the butt episode. Yeah,
the butt episode.
Or rank all the butts.
I did look up the theme song for this season because I don't know the song. I was like, oh, that's a pretty good choice.
Foxy Shazam, yeah,
Foxy Shazam. And one of the things that cracks me up, his wife Jennifer Holland is very lovely, and she's very good. Like Harcourt, especially her getting to play two different Harcourts, very good. But nothing cracks me up more than the dance sequence at the very beginning of the show when they do ads and her and who's behind them. It doesn't matter. Yes, that part, the look on her face where she looks like,
she's very serious.
She looks like Donkey Kong.
Yeah,
and I mean that in a good way. Anyway, we're enjoying the show, and we will at least talk about it for another few weeks till it runs out. Thanks for listening to us. What should we tease for next time? Should we do Man of Steel next week, or should we jump into something else?
Maybe. One thing occurred to me,
because this series again, getting back on that.
Yeah. One thing occurred to me recently that this wouldn't be a whole episode, and we didn't have time to get into it this time, but Terrence Stamp passed away last month when I was on tour. So we weren't recording at the time that happened. So we didn't really get to dig into his legacy, but I would like to do that because we owe it to the man.
If we don't we may not have to fully kneel before Zod, but we should at least crouch before Zod. I have no problem talking about Terrence Stamp and films of his that weren't Superman related that I've always enjoyed, because the man was an amazing actor. And talk about someone who locked in. He was one of those British intense guys where you're like going, Jesus, I'm afraid. I don't want to meet you outside. Really love me some Terrence Stamp. So let's talk Terrence Stamp next week and other things. And we appreciate you guys. Buy our merch, tell your friends, and keep on sapping. Is that a thing? Can I turn that into a thing? Keep
on sapping. Yeah.
And I'll keep working on my Chad Smalley song. All right, bye.
All right. See ya.
Chad Smalley is not very tally. He's of average height. He has a friend named Dwight. That's all I've got so far.